Hey Nerdles, this is Swizzard with Nerd Turtle here.
Cobra.
Caitlin.
Groovy DC. Yep, I changed my nickname again.
And EBG2.
And we are here to talk to you about Doctor Strange. And this is, spoiler alert, we're going to talk about most of the plot and some of the Easter eggs. So if you haven't seen the movie, stop listening here.
Quick! Change the channel!
So, if you're still here, then I guess you've probably seen the movie or you're a glutton for punishment. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the story. What did you guys feel about the storyline and the overall, like, the arc and, you know, just how the plot was?
For me, story-wise, I liked it, but I admit to me it mirrored, like I said before, it mirrored Iron Man a little too much, you know, like, but it is what it is. I mean, it's based off a Stan Lee character, and a lot of the Stan Lee characters have those injuries or those flaws before, you know, they're found out.
Yeah, I mean, he uses a very sort of Shakespearean hero archetype where they have a flaw and
then rise above the flaw.
Spider-Man's one of these, you know, the rare examples where he doesn't, but then he gets called a weenie because he's, you know, too much of a good guy.
Right.
But you're right. I mean, it parallels Iron Man because they're both. I mean, in a way, they're kind of the same character with different powers.
Yep. Yeah.
They're both rich assholes that, you know.
Take out the magic and put the tech. You get Iron Man. Take out the tech. You get magic. You get Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
You know,
and maybe the alcoholism.
Yeah. You see. So I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that is what it is. Beyond that, when it gets into like the whole like mysticism and story part and all that stuff, I mean, definitely something that Marvel hasn't really touched before. You know, they hinted at with the Thor genre being science and magic, and now it's blatantly magic. You know, there's no hiding. There's no like.
Right. They don't even try to say that it's science and magic.
Science and, yeah, exactly.
Oh man, I was kind of afraid they're gonna Doctor Who it up and just say, "Oh, it's alien technology."
Right.
But
they did not hide from
they
that.
kept
They said
it
it.
magic.
This had any issues with the story. Actually, I liked it. I thought it was presented very well. It's just, I remember, this is why I need to stop listening to rumors online and such, but I thought it was going to be a borderline horror film. You know what I mean?
That's what I was hoping.
Very scary, yeah.
The LSD trips were kind of.
Oh, that is true. I think I forgot to breathe at first like mind blowing part. I think I forgot to breathe at some parts. Yeah.
Or it could be people hoping they're looking at like the genres they've made for some of the other movies, and you know, they're missing horror, so they haven't.
No, that's exactly what I thought. I thought since they had the heist type with Ant-Man. You know, and all
you had your political
stuff.
thriller with Winter Soldier.
Exactly. So I was like, oh, this would be really cool to slide horror. That's what everyone's saying.
I thought it'd be a little bit more dark. I was blown away by how they incorporated the magical aspect into it, and I just think that they did a really good job of getting the character story out there, and I feel like it went along with what I know of the Doctor Strange comics, how, you know, it talks about like, you know, the car accident and the way they showed that whole scene, and they really got the emotion in there right in the beginning of the story. So I don't know, I really, something about the story, I was so entranced by it from the very beginning. It felt like Harry Potter to me, Harry Potter on LSD. I love it.
And Inception on crack.
Yes.
But yeah, for me, I think it's kind of cheap to knock down Doctor Strange for being the generic archetype hero origin film, because, you know, if anybody studied hero's journey, they know they all follow a specific, you know, formula.
You know, and that was my point. I actually, on that, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you, but on that same thing, like IGN had a review on it, and they were complaining that it was very formulaic. And my whole thing is, you know, there's only so many story archetypes you can use, period, in general, and there's only so many genres.
Still be cohesive.
And still be cohesive, and you know, and be able to follow along. So the fact that you're using that as a complaint for the movie, to me, it was kind of superfluous that you're saying, well, this is the 14th movie that they've made, and it kind of feels like some of the other origins. Well, of course it does. It's the same hero's journey, like you said.
And it's successful. This is a good way of this is what
because it still has a good cohesive story that flows.
Yeah.
And that's the important point.
For me, it's all about how it's executed, and it's been executed quite well.
Yeah, I felt overall it was really solid, but some of it, I don't know what it was, lacked to me. I don't know, I felt like during his training, maybe it felt a little rushed, like there could have been more there, maybe we'll see more of that, like more with the Ancient One too. I don't feel like we learned a lot about the character, so maybe the director's cut will.
Yeah, and I think some of that was by necessity,
Marvel's
because they had to do everything like they did with the original Iron Man. They had to set Strange up as that arrogant prick, you know, and then he has this big fall, and they have to make you believe that like the hand thing is the worst thing that has ever happened to him, and he's got to push everybody away, and then kind of hit rock bottom and go back up. So I agree with you. I did feel like that parts of it were rushed through, and like his training, like you said. I didn't feel that his training felt too rushed for like.
Felt like a montage to me.
For a 2-hour movie. I actually felt more like they kind of rushed the beginning, where like, he's a dick and then he has his accident. That was like, boom. But I understood why it all was moving so fast.
From a writing perspective, they did the best they could with a very short period of time, I'll say that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So next up, let's talk about the characters themselves. How did you guys feel about the characterization of, Strange and Mordo and all the rest of the characters?
Spot on, in my opinion. With Cumberbatch, portraying as Strange, Cumberbatch is very versatile with all this acting he's done in the past. Perfect, spot on, from my opinion.
Yeah.
My only complaint with the characters that they didn't dwell too much into the bad guy. Like they didn't really milk him as much as a bad guy. But I will say this: on top of that, he was one of the best bad guys on the lines of like. What he felt he was doing was right. It seemed like most of the other Marvel villains, they were always bad
they're
guys.
Characters, because that's why Loki was so effective, right? Because Loki's like not really like a bad guy; he's doing things for other reasons.
Right, exactly.
And I agree with you. Calicius, is that what his name?
Yeah, and he felt like what he thought was like
he also felt just powerful enough that he wasn't like Thanos, right? You feel like Thanos is going to come, he's going to wreck everybody eventually. But he felt just powerful enough that it truly was a challenge for the heroes to actually fight him and try to stop him. Yeah, overall, the characterization, you're right, Cumberbatch was spot on. I actually really liked the way they handled Wong. Because, in the comics, he was always sort of...
Such a side... He's more of a Jarvis.
Yeah, he's a Jarvis. He's this Chinese manservant. It's like stereotypically racist almost. In a lot of ways, and I just thought that the way they change it is just so much better. So much better.
You who don't really know, that doesn't really know Strange, do you know about Wong?
No, I didn't even know.
Yeah, Wong is basically Iron Man. He's basically his Jarvis. So he's
Alfred. He's
he's Alfred. Right? Yeah, he's there. He's the voice of reason when Doctor Strange has some kind of doubt. He's the one's like, he's
the one who answers the door and sarcastic quips.
Exactly. This one they did. He's more of a on par character.
I had liked the character though, because it just brought like another form of comedy into it. But I think the character that I was most impressed by through the movie was the Ancient One. I think that they did a really cool, and also in the trailer you really didn't get an idea of who this character is going to be. So I really liked the way they, brought her in and the way they showed her wisdom throughout it. And then at the end you get the plot twist of, oh my gosh, maybe she is the bad guy for a while. And I guess also in the trailer, I thought that Mordo, I thought he was going to be a villain the way they showed it. And they had like a scene, I think in one of the trailers, where he's like chasing Doctor Strange through the streets. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe he's going to be the bad guy. But no, until the very, very end. Well, some people then maybe he does have a darker side.
Some people who really know the comics thought that he was too, because in the comics, Calicius actually answers to Mordo, who is then serving Dormammu. So they kind of changed that around for the story. And I think they did it because they didn't just want to be like, Baron Mordo's a bad guy, haha. They wanted to actually develop his character. Because I feel like they're planning on keeping him around for a while.
Yeah.
And they kind of want to show his sort of the reason why he diverges from Strange and falls away. And I thought that the plot twist about the Ancient One actually drawing power from the Dark Realm was more, you could almost say it was a little gimmicky, because it was actually designed to set Mordo up, not actually really affect anything else in the plot. It sort of helped set Calicius up, you find out later, for like why he steals the book, because he finds out that she was lying. But I think it's also to set Mordo up to sort of, for that schism to develop, because he's very much by these are the natural laws, we never break them. Well, she's been breaking them the whole time and lying to you. So it's sort of like that's the beginning of the shattering of his trust.
I just thought the character development in this movie, they were able to cover a lot of characters and put deep and meaning into these characters without just throwing a whole bunch of people at you without, having a story.
Yeah, but going back to everything what everybody said, they add a great deal of complexity to these characters, from Ancient One just breaking the rules behind everybody's back in order to do what she believes is right. Mad's character, Calicius, he was a great villain. I guess the thing that really bothered me was just really wasn't as memorable, but I feel like the scene that really nailed his character was when he was in prison at Steel Trap and he was explaining why he was doing what he was doing. And
that little bit of exposition.
And when he was tearing up and all that stuff. That's what made me like him as a villain, because emotion rather than just bitter angerness, you know, whatever, just I'm bad, you know.
Yeah, and you can realize that his reasoning is sort of twisted and not truly understanding Dormammu, but at the same time, you know, he doesn't see Dormammu as the enemy. He says in that scene, he says that time is the enemy. And so that's what he's fighting for, you know? And so, yeah, I like bad guys like that. What about you, EBG?
So, I think Ancient One is my favorite character, and I think that's why I kind of wanted more of her in the story. I kind of wanted to know more about her, and I don't know, everything, her appeal to Strange was the same appeal that you have as a viewing audience, I think. And she really did have that higher learning type feel to her. Strange, I thought, you know, he was really good. They over a period of time they fleshed him out pretty well. I thought some of the characters' humor, the writing of the humor, I don't know if it was that strong, but we talked about this earlier. It could have been the setting. We were in a theater with not very many people. Didn't get much reaction. I don't know about you. Were in a different theater.
A lot of laughs.
Yeah,
from the humor.
So yeah, that's
just depending on the audience probably that was viewing it. I think there was a lot of younger people that got a lot of the quips. I don't know how old the audience was where you were seeing it.
It's kind of just an environment thing. Yeah, you know, overall, love the characters. I'm glad that they didn't shy away from Dormammu, not making him some completely faceless entity, kind of he's involved in the film, or Cloud. Although he wasn't far off from that.
Close.
He's still not the.
He at least spoke.
He's not the flaming head that we're used to, but you know that it's a setup for future that won't leave people lost the next time we see him.
By the way, special shout out to Benjamin Cumberbatch for being both the hero and the villain in that movie, because he did the motion capture for Dormammu's face, which I only recently just found out this morning, which I thought was pretty cool.
Huh.
Do we want to touch the whole people BSing about the whitewashing of the Ancient One and such?
Hey, I'm Asian. Didn't bother me.
Okay, well, good. There you go. Exactly. No.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of controversy, I know. I thought their explanation, some people are going to argue it's a cop-out. I thought it was okay, arguing that she was a Celtic sorceress, which perfectly explains it. The whole explanation of the Ancient One being from different backgrounds and it changing.
I thought it was cool. I don't know Strange that well. I know him in general, but I don't know him that well to have been attached to the original Ancient One character.
And I get the point. I read the point somewhere that, you know, they could have used like if they wanted a woman, why didn't they use an Asian woman? Fair point. There's a lot of great Asian actresses. You know, at the same time, they did a great job taking a character like Wong, who was nothing, like I said before, like basically the bad stereotypes of, like, you know, of Asians, and making him a fully fleshed out equal to Strange.
Technically, between if you look at those major four actors and actresses that we said, they're very diverse based on the three. I mean, you got white man, woman, but then you have the black male and then the Asian guy. I mean, when all of them stood out, you know, every single one stood out. So.
And yes, in the comic you had, you know, two Asian males. Again, in some ways they were like stereotypically Asian, especially Wong, who was bad. And then, you know, Mordo was just another white guy in the comics. So a lot of that outrage seems a little overblown, but I do understand why people are upset by it.
I thought in general they picked really good actors, so that's something I care about.
Yep.
Yeah, because if you just pick somebody because, you know, well, this is how they look, you know, you're making a mistake because you want to pick the best actor for the role, quite honestly. That's the way I look at it. For any character, it doesn't matter.
They're strong actors.
Yeah, visuals are next. So how'd you guys feel about the visuals?
I mean,
LSD.
Love LSD.
Yeah, right. There's I don't think any of us can say enough about the visuals.
I'm wishing I saw it in 3D and or IMAX because I have heard that it is amazing. So I may go back and watch it in 3D.
It makes 3D worth it.
Yeah. Have you not seen it already? For any of you listening, definitely go see it in IMAX 3D.
Do not wait. Go see it in the theater.
Yeah.
Justin, if you're listening to this, do not watch it on DVD or Blu-ray. Okay, it is not worth it. It is meant for IMAX, and this is one of the best IMAX 3D films I've ever seen. So even if you're not a huge superhero fan or you've never even heard of Doctor Strange, like, I want to bring my parents to it just so they can experience what this is like.
I mean, at the very least, if 3D gives you a headache, go see it in the theater in general, because on that big screen with that crystal clear quality.
It's the visuals alone is worth the price.
Yeah. I've never seen anything like that.
And I mean, the Dark Realm was like it's ripped straight out of the comic. I mean, from Steve Ditko's artwork.
And the way they did like the mirror universe.
The magic is perfect.
Wow, just incredible. the moving buildings, tumbling.
It was like Inception on meth.
It's like we were saying before we started recording how we never really get a chance to pay details to like the backgrounds and such, and then how this movie, anything like during some of the fights, the Strange's awakening part scene to the fight chase scene through the mirror realm with
Coliseus.
Yeah, there you go. And with that whole when they were in control of it and all that stuff.
Yeah,
and
that was insane.
That it was a fist fight, magic fight, as well as then basically 4 worlds coming apart and coming together at the same time.
It was the craziest.
Like whoever like had to piece that scene together.
More importantly, it was very coherent. You could follow it.
Absolutely, it wasn't confusing.
That's what I'm saying. That whoever, like seriously, the minds they used to put that thing together. One, they must have had sleepless nights. Okay,
I don't know if there's like a visual art director award, but they deserve it,
right?
No,
I would deserve the Oscar for visual.
Yes, I will be quite honest. If they don't win the Oscar for visual effects, it's good. Probably a travesty because there's nothing this year. And I don't foresee anything else coming out.
Giant man's growth scene.
In general, never seen anything like that. Period.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
it was very smart for them to wait to make the Doctor Strange until the technology was good enough to make these visual effects.
Yeah.
Because had they made this movie 10 years ago, it wouldn't have looked the same. You wouldn't have the same emotion behind it. So
And that was actually the other thing that's always a good compliment, because you can do crazy CGI like that. It becomes super obvious that it's CG.
Yeah.
And this is so well done that there was maybe a couple parts I was like, yeah, that was like CG Strange, like jumping. But like 99% of the time, you're fully immersed and it feels completely believable that somebody's literally taking the world, ripping apart and putting it back together in the most awkward way ever.
It was making me dizzy watching it. And of course, as most of you guys know, that I'm super affected by 3D and movies and everything, but yeah, I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack throughout the whole movie, so that's a good thing.
Question for EBG2. So when Doctor Strange went into Doctor Strange's eye,
I wasn't even sure if I was affected because I was like, I couldn't stop watching the insanity in front of my eyes. I didn't know if I was affected by my own phobia. So I kind of just went through that.
It's funny because we didn't see it. I didn't see it with you guys when that scene happened. Candace and I looked at each other, and I'm like, we didn't look at each other, but I could feel her touch me. We're thinking about Eric because of the eye phobia, and I'm like, but it was so fast. It was like, like you said, I couldn't even react. I was like, oh god.
There was no time for me to be like, uh-oh. Like, I think since I didn't have anticipate fear, it was less bad.
Has to be just fast.
I'm so glad they didn't show any of that acid trip in the trailers, because that just caught me off guard.
It was
loved
great.
every second of it.
Eric, what was it you were saying about you have almost greater appreciation because of the climax fight where he rewinds time?
Yeah, the destruction, like you see in a lot of movies, a lot of action movies, lots of destruction, lots of mayhem, buildings falling down, but it's a lot different when you slow it down and put it in reverse. You can appreciate every moment. That's one thing that just set it apart that you've never seen like that. And like you were saying, kind of blew away Inception. We've had people commenting online saying that because beforehand they're like, oh, it's just like Inception, but it kind of blew it away. And one more thing I want to say is, as far as 3D movies go, it's the best 3D as far as how they utilized it. It's the best I've ever seen since Avatar.
Alright, and so now we're going to audio, sound, music, all that jazz. How'd you guys feel about that?
See what you did there? Talking about audio.
Oh,
He says jazz.
Yeah.
Music-wise, especially when they threw that Pink Floyd song in there. For and it's like,
so appropriate.
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it's appropriate. Yes.
Did you guys know the Easter egg about that Pink Floyd song too?
Doesn't someone in there have a connection to something?
The album cover that song was on is actually literally Doctor Strange. It's the Dark Dimension. If you look at the album cover, that's what the album cover that Pink Floyd song is on from. Wow. So they pulled that song from the album and used it in the scene where it crashes and it becomes Doctor Strange.
There you go. There you go. That's funny.
Yeah, I mean the sounds all felt right. Like with the magic, you're like, how do you get the sound from magic right? It just felt right, when you hear it. And I thought the score was amazing.
Yeah.
And they did a nice job with. I thought Dormammu. Obviously he's got this other world, supposed to have this otherworldly voice. I thought they did a good job with that.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific really to say about the audio. I thought that they did a good job with it, that it elicited the emotions that they were intending for each scene. So, and it didn't feel like they overdid it in any parts or, underwhelmed other parts. So, to me, it was very well done.
I mean, the sound effects is, what you expect from, more magic-based stuff. Definitely on point. And yeah, going back to score, yeah, the score was great. And you know, Marvel Studios usually has an infamous history of like having like really dull soundtracks that have as much charm as a rattling AC. But I just love the combination of Eastern music mixed with rock. So it definitely was great.
Yeah, there was one song in particular. I think it was in the credits. I was thinking like it was like a '70s song, but with Eastern vibe in it, and I was like, this is so trippy. Yeah, and the score in general, it didn't take me out of film. I liked it, and I think that the sound editing, sound mastering was really, really good. High points for that overall.
So overall impressions for the movie. How'd you guys feel about it overall? Any Easter eggs you want to bring up?
All right, did anybody see any? I admit I was looking, but then the movie would distract me. Like when they were scanning through the sanctum, I tried to look in every case that was foreground and background, and I noticed nothing.
I saw like a duck in a suit somewhere.
Was there?
No.
I'm just saying.
Just
Yeah,
except for Stan Lee.
Yeah,
They actually, and I didn't notice this one at first, so I can't take credit for figuring it out. But when Mordo was fighting with Strange for the first time in the courtyard, and he's like, you know, eventually you'll get a relic. Now it has to choose, you know, he explains like how
the weapons.
He mentions the Living Tribunal because
I did mention that. I did notice that. That is right. I meant to bring that up with you later when they brought it up.
And then
I thought that was
there's the obvious one, the nod to with the Eye of Agamotto being the time stone to what's coming.
Infinity Stone. Yeah.
I thought the end credit scenes were awesome. I know some people would argue that Mordo's is kind of
Mordor is story driven. Obviously, Thor was very, you know, like, oh, Thor's in this. You know, does that mean Doctor Strange is gonna pop up in the next Thor? I'm hoping it's not just like a.
Well, there's a strong possibility. There's a lot of magic in Thor universe.
And there have been rumors that there was a scene filmed because Thor goes to Strange for help trying to find Odin, which is pretty much exactly what they did in the end credit scene.
I see.
So for all we know, that very scene is actually out of Thor Ragnarok and will wind up in the movie. So I thought it was interesting because it kind of proves some of the rumors true that I'd seen floating around on the internet about it, and some screenshots of like, ooh, why is he here? You know, stuff like that. There's so much going on visually, it's hard to try to pinpoint it.
I feel like I need to go back and see it again.
Multi-watch,
Yeah, for a couple of reasons, but definitely because I just felt like there was some parts that like, oh, I need to re-see that. Like, did I miss something there? I didn't really know what to expect coming into the movie, and I didn't know if this was going to be a movie that I absolutely loved or whatever, but this is, like, as of now, this is one of my favorite Marvel films that came out, and to me, just the Wanderlust, the whole magical aspect of it, I really just fell in love with it. It felt so good.
Refreshing to see actual magic and them not shy away from it in the MCU.
That's exactly. I thought that I wasn't sure how they were going to handle the magic aspect of it, but the way they did it, they really just like grasped hold of it. And then the way Benedict Cumberbatch portrayed the character and the whole relationship, the comedy aspect of him and his cape, I just loved it. And as Kevin said, like it makes you feel like Spawn.
Yeah, Kate reminded me.
It really does. But I just, oh man, I can't wait to see all the amazing cosplays of Doctor Strange in the next year or so. It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, if there's one way I can describe this to like a very casual movie comic fan, I would just say this is just a mesh of Iron Man, Harry Potter, and Inception.
And Doctor Who.
And Doctor Who, yeah. And it's really great. But yeah, the origin story, I mean, yeah, it's what you kind of expect from any superhero film, but I felt it was really done well and definitely interesting and reels you in. But yeah, the talk about it, the main highlight is the visual effects, which are just amazing. Just the fight scenes are just stuff that I have not seen in like any other movies before. And I like we said before, IMAX 3D must see.
Yep. Overall, really liked it. Not sure if it's my favorite origin stories of all Marvel. I'm still kind of mulling it over, but it's definitely up there. It's definitely a contender. I love the Thor ending. Of course, I'm a big Thor fan, but it was still really funny. A little addition. The Mordo thing, it was kind of obvious, especially even if you didn't know the character. There was plenty of foreshadowing, like even what the Ancient One said about him.
And especially he walks away at the end of the movie from him. So yeah.
It was great overall.
The only other thing I was going to add is that I loved Captain America: Civil War with all the characters jam packed into it, but it is nice to get a break from I love all those characters and they're very familiar now. It was nice to get a fresh character that has a
movie too
that has a totally fresh perspective on the entire universe, and it sets Marvel up to do a lot of things, like be able to explain away why eventually when actors are going to change, Robert Downey Jr. is not going to be Iron Man forever. There's that whole multiverse theory that they can dive into and change characters that Strange helps set up. And Ant-Man was like a fresh new character, but he was tech based, and this is just different. It's totally different.
They specifically even mention it in the film, talking about, there's the Avengers, and there's us. We deal with the magic stuff, and they're just kind of setting up like there's going to be this whole other side.
Yep.
You know, and I kind of can't wait to see when it all comes together.
Maybe this is where they pull other ones like Blade.
They also talked about like other realms and stuff, and I wonder if they will eventually go into Sword. Is that the space?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sword. Yeah.
And I think that would be, since Shield has become such a popular show, then I think it'd be cool just to see the other perspective and see like a
that's true. And on Shield, they've actually
Shield.
they're bringing Shield back to the mainstream, so to speak. It's no longer an underground shadow
Yes,
thing.
that's true. Remember, I mean, I don't know if you know this or not. There was a sci-fi Man-Thing film, okay, back years ago.
Don't talk about that.
Well, no, it still counts, okay. It's in the Marvel.
We might as well count Howard the Duck.
Yes, no. Well, it wasn't. I think Disney owned Marvel at this point, so maybe it counts as an MCU movie. We'll see.
So overall,
I'm gonna time it. I'm gonna look at this.
So what's your score?
For a Cobra score, which is do not see, Netflix C, Redbox C, movie theater C, and IMAX C. This one's definitely an IMAX C. For Nerd Turtle score, I give it 8.5 shells.
I give it 9.5 shells out of 10 shells.
I'm giving it a 9.
I originally had this at 8. Thought kind of slept on it, and looking at my scores for each category, I'm going to go with a 9 out of 10 shells.
Same, 9 out of 10. I was originally an 8.5 after coming out of the theater last night. I slept on it, and I was like, no, it's too good. It's 9 out of 10, and I think it's probably the best solo movie in the MCU, in my opinion. I'm still arguing whether or not Iron Man 1 was better in terms of an origin story for a character.
Iron Man had a better humor.
Did have better humor. I mean, I enjoyed the humor and appreciated what was in Strange. I know some people, it was kind of hit or miss. But
I feel so long ago.
I loved the humor. I thought it was great. People were like, oh, it was so, poor, but I loved it.
I don't think it was poor. Some parts fell flat to me.
I thought it was hilarious.
I thought it was all funny, but whatever. Maybe we just have shitty senses of humor. So.
High five
It's
on that.
underdeveloped compared to EBG2.
Peasant humor.
Peasant humor.
Uncultured swine.
Alright guys, thanks for listening, and geek out, nerdles.